Hello, welcome. Welcome to my first video. Let's do it together. Today I figured I'd do a full face of my oldest makeup, which at the time was the newest to me. Before we get started, off camera, I used the Inky hyaluronic acid all over my face as soon as I woke up this morning. Love this stuff. Then I followed up with a little bit of the new company, the Peel. It's an all-in-one serum. It has AHA, vitamin C, and hyaluronic acid. I think I got this in a BoxyCharm box and wasn't really sure about it. Skincare is not really my thing. Tried it, loved it, use it every day. So one of my oldest primers was Benefit Professional, and I don't have any more of that left and didn't want to purchase it because I don't use it anymore. I have very dry skin, very dry, old, mature skin. But my second two were the NYX Angel Veil, followed up with the Smashbox Primer Water. So that's what I'll be using today. Just apply it with my fingers. I go in with the Angel Veil first. Really liked this. It does leave a white cast, but if you use it sparingly, it doesn't. There is no amount of pore filler, pore magic, serums, lotions, creams, anything that will fill in the one line that I have, the forehead wrinkles, or my smile lines, which just means thus far I have led a life full of laughter. No complaints. Maybe one day I'll get Botox, filler, who knows. But for now, they're here. Okay, let's follow that up with a little bit of this primer water, just for a little more moisture. Okay. I like to take my sponge, kind of push that in a little bit. I didn't spray a lot. I don't need a lot. The sponge I'm using is not one of my first oldest sponges, but it is one of my favorite. It is from Ofra Cosmetics. I've had this sponge for quite a while. Probably should have gotten rid of it, but I clean it after every use. Clean it very well as I stick it in the microwave, heat up the water, pretty much boil it to get it clean, let it cool, drain it, rinse it again. Perfect. Looks brand new. No complaints. So, for foundation, I'm going to go in with the IT CC Cream, the Illumination. It has SPF of 50 plus. I do not know if they still make this. I have quite a few, so I haven't really needed to go up there and look to see if they had any extras, but this stuff, love it. Love it, love it, love it. Will always continue to repurchase. For some reason, if they stop selling it, I will stock up before they do. I have a couple of shades, but for today, I'm going to use the shade Light. So I usually start out with one pump on the back of my hand. I take my finger and I just dot it on. When I use this, I typically do not use an illuminating primer, such as Becca Backlight or Charlotte Tilbury, L'Oreal Lumi. I don't use any of that. Then I go in with about a half of another pump and go in again. Put it on my face. And when I have leftover on my finger and the back of my hand, waste not, want not. And I get it on the sponge and I start to blend. Try not to get my eyelids. They are quite oily, but I do get everywhere else. Sometimes I even go all the way under my eyes. That way I don't have to use but a little bit of concealer. I do have crepey under eyes. There's no getting past that either. Usually blend it down my neck a little bit. I do have a spot right there. I do have psoriasis, so sometimes those spots show up. Age spots, wisdom spots. For concealer, oldie but goodie, Maybelline Instant Age Rewind. This is the corrector. This is the neutralizer. I did not have another shade in this, so I am going to put a little bit of this just right there to blend in a little bit. Just on the corners. Then I'm going to go in with the Tarte. This is the Ultra Creamy Shape Tape. I started out with the regular Shape Tape. It was just way too drying on me, so I don't use that anymore, and I decluttered it. This is in the shade Fair, I believe. Fair Light, excuse me. So with this goes quite a long ways. I usually put a little bit here, 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 and here. And start here and blend this. Then I take the side bottom of the sponge that I used for my foundation, and I kind of just go in a little bit over that. Don't really use this concealer that much anymore. What I tend to use now is either Too Faced, the creamy concealer, the big bottle, or I use Marc Jacobs, the caffeine shot, which has been discontinued, but if you're lucky, you can find it at like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, maybe Ross. I'm not really sure about that, but I bought one bottle and tried it, loved it, went back the very next day, and bought another bottle, a backup, which was all they had. So I'm always on the hunt for that. Now, to powder my under eyes, going in with a classic. I actually keep this in a baby food jar, but this is the Rcma powder. First bought this, oh my goodness, ages ago. It's probably expired, but you know. So I take this, a little bit of this, put it in my baby food cap, and I take a brush. This is a MAC 127, and I just lightly go under my eye. On my nose a little bit. Get that old one line. Let that sit for just a few minutes. Not trying to bake it, just kind of get it to all set in. Alrighty, so then I start to do my eyes. I am going in with OG Classic MAC Painterly Pink Pot. This one's well loved. So let's take this. I usually take this actually with almost a concealer brush. This is in my opinion, from what I've seen, a dupe for the Rare Beauty concealer brush, but this came from Beauchamp's. It's rubbed off almost. I got it in a Ipsy or a BoxyCharm box, or I think I got it as an add-on. At any rate, I don't think it was more than $3 or $5. Great brush. So I take and start applying this to my lids. Does not take much for me, and this bottle, or this pot, excuse me, lasts an extremely long time. I do have a mirror off camera. It's actually a mirror that came in a Larley Los Angeles mystery box. Really nice. The handle has worn off, but it did have her LL logo on it, and it has a regular side, and then it has a magnified side, which I really like. Just a plain, simple mirror. Nothing fancy. Gets the job done. So, after I apply that, then I'll take my sponge, kind of go in, put that in a little bit, tap that in a little bit, excuse me. Now, for eyeshadow, I have the very first eyeshadow palette that I bought at Sephora, high-end. This is the Chartist Pro to Go. It has the shades in it. As you can see, they have been used quite a bit. Love them very much. I, to this day, keep this little gem in my handbag, in my little makeup pouch. I keep this along with a brush, gloss, pack of makeup remover wipes, just in case. And I can do whatever I need to with this. If I just need to add a little bit of color, I'll throw one of those lighter shades in the crease and put one of these shimmers on the lid. So for this, I will be using this, but I also have this goodie, Dirty Goodie, the original Jaclyn Hill palette by Morphe. This one has been used and loved and abused. So, and for the shimmer, we're going to use an ABH palette. This is the self-made eyeshadow palette. In this still has the plastic on the front. In this palette, as you can see, most of these shades are untouched, except for this one, Pink Champagne. And this one is quite used. I don't know if you can really see that, but I have the single in this as well because I love it. I'll try to use it if I don't forget. So, we're going to start out with, this palette is so old, it came with the insert just in there, and I just ended up taping it to the top. So, I'll be able to give you some shade names. Let me grab a brush. Let's see. Let's go in with the shade 3 Top. Looks like this is shade Silk Cream. I'm going to go in with this one first. And then I will follow it up with the one next to it. Almost the same color. And I'm using a Rcma 27 brush. Not one of my first brushes. Now, I do have mature lids and quite hooded eyes, as you can see. My eyes are completely open, and I'm staring straight ahead. Yes, I do have a lot of room between my eyelid crease and brow, but I'm just not one of those that can pull off shadow up to my brows. Oh, there's my mirror. It's hiding. I got a pretty good base going. Pretty good crease base. Then I'm going to use the same brush, and I'm going to go into that color right next to it. This color. It's a little deeper. And I'm just going to go a slight bit lower. Not much, and you probably can't even tell. I do have a bit of dryness, psoriasis on this part of my eye, so it may look a little wonky, but that is why. I'm just going in and trying to soften all of this up. Now, let's see, in the Tortoise palette, to deepen everything up, I'm going to go into this shade, which is Crisp. And I'm going to go in with this is a MAC. The number's worn off, but it's, how do you do it? It's like this. Just a small little blender. Just gonna put, because this is very pigmented. It's got a little bit on the brush that was barely tapping in. And I'm going to put a little bit of that. Get a little bit that I tapped off. Just going to kind of deepen that outer edge a little bit. Because my eyes are hooded, and I'll get closer and see if you can see, there is a very pronounced crease that makes it absolutely impossible for me to do the standard V. It just doesn't work. The shadow comes off because of the crease. It really is that pronounced. So typically when I'm darkening my outer, I'll just take a little bit of that. I'll do it again and show you up close. And I just sweep it out. Just like that. And then it does leave sometimes harsh there, but I go in and I blend that out. I'll do the other side again to show you. I'm just going to take my brush and go this way on the outer with it. And then I take that first brush, or a clean brush, which is, this is a Morphe 504, one of my favorite brushes. Make sure that's clean. And then I'll take and I'll just kind of go in. And where I took that darker shade and sweeped it this way, and it kind of made a little harsh line there. Still a little harsh on the actual lid. I don't have a lot of lid space, so what I'll typically do is just cover and then go back over. So now I'll go into the ABH palette and go in with this pink champagne color. See if I can get some on my brush. Yes, I can. So what I do is I typically take a brush and get it on both sides. This is not wet. This is a Morphe brush that came in a set. This was actually one of the first makeup brush sets that I did have. This was even their old branding. It doesn't have a number on it, but does the trick. So I'm going to go in dry first, and we'll see how this goes. Okay, so that's one side of the brush. Then I'll take the other side and go over, pack it. Kind of cover up a little bit of that harsh on the end. And now I'll wet my brush and do the other side. We'll use a little bit of all-nighter. Usually I just use whatever I have sitting next to me. This side. I did the wrong eye. I actually like this better dry. There we go. There we go. There are the eyes. And here they are open. Kind of still hard to see. But Then we'll take that deeper brush, that deeper shade on the brush, and I will take and dust off this Rcma powder. And I will take it, and really don't like a lot of shadow on my lower lash line because I have such small almond hooded eyes. It just makes me look sickly personally. So, but I will take a little bit and run it just right there. Just a little bit. Plus my eyes water a lot, so most of the time, this eye especially. Okay. Now, we will do these hideous brows. The absolute least favorite part of my makeup routine. Today I am using ColourPop's brow pencil in the shade Bangin' Brunette. This is about the closest. I don't do a lot to my brows. I don't try to make them Instagram, TikTok, YouTube famous. I just do what makes me comfortable. So I will, they're kind of sparse. So my oldest products that I use are, of course, this pencil. And it's about empty. I do like this pencil. It's extremely creamy. And I just kind of follow the way that it grows. My eyebrows do not arch much, and they don't have much of a tail, so I try to give them a little help there. They're not sisters. They're not twins. They may be in the same family. They may not be. Same thing over here. Just fill out any little sparse areas. I do try to make them the same length. Kind of hard to make them the same shape. And I go back in with the spoolie. Just kind of shape them up a little bit. And then the oldest, Gimme Brow, Benefits Gimme Brow. This was in light medium. This is old. Still has some in there, but it is old. Now I use obviously the newer, or even better, the drugstore. And just very lightly feather this in. Still such a good product. Even old and expired. Still love it. Alrighty. Now, let's see. I have dry skin. This feels set down. So, now we will go in with bronzer. My first bronzer that I ever purchased was from Ulta, and it was the I Love Revolution Bronze and Glow. And again, she's well loved as well. Will tell you, this is still available. This, and I do have the Charlotte Tilbury Bronze and Glow, I think that's what it's called as well. and identical dupe. I use this over my Charlotte Tilbury. I still use this. So let's take this bronzer contour brush. This is a Sigma Large Angled Contour F40. Excellent brush. Love this. And I'll get a little bit on the brush, and I'll just kind of go in and tap. And get a little bit more. I know it looks harsh now, but I will blend it out. And I just tap it like this. Then I will take another dip, and I'll just kind of go around my forehead a little bit. Just tapping it. Just to give me a little warmth if I need it. And today I do. Whatever's left on the brush, kind of go under my nose. And for blush, I had several choices for blush. I think I bought these all at the same time, but I have Essence Satin Touch in the shade Satin Coral. She looks like this. Swatched. It's like that, a little peachy. Then I have Essence Satin in this is Satin Coral. This is Satin Love. And that's what she looks like. A little lighter. That's those two. And then the one that I probably use the most, even now, is by Cargo. And this is in the shade Ibiza. This is a water-resistant blush. It comes in a little tin. That is this shade. This does have a little bit of shimmer when you first look at it. But then when you swatch it, and well, that's not really a good swatch. When it's on, it just gives the prettiest. So I take a little bit of that. A lot comes off. And I tap it. And I just go to town. Something I've been doing since probably I was a teenager when I didn't hardly wear any makeup. I always take a little bit of blush and I always put it on my forehead right there. Right there. And yes, I do put it on a little bit on my nose. Just what's left. Just because I like that sunburn look. And that's where when I am out in the sun, if I do get a sunburn, that is where it happens, or that is where it shows up most prominently. There, and there. So that is the blush. Highlighter, I have 3 highlighters as well that I pretty much all got around the same time. I don't know which came first. And that is, but these are to this day, this is one of my all-time favorites. This is the Revolution times Soph highlighter palette from her first launch. And again, you see, I've hit pan. These look quite dark and intimidating in the pan, but once they are on, they are not. I'll swatch the 3 shades that I use the most. see if you can see them. Let me move my bracelet up here. There they are on my finger. There's one, there's two, and there's three. This is still available. Highly recommend. Also, cult classic, are we surprised? The Bomb's Merry Luminizer. Now, this has been repurchased, so she doesn't look like she's been used much, but the other one had. This one's swatched. Again, beautiful. I love these. These do not show texture. They don't emphasize texture, which is what I have a lot of. And the third one is the Too Faced Love Light Prismatic Highlighter. This is in the shade Blinded by the Light. This, I do believe, you can probably find at TJ Maxx, Marshall's, one of those places. That's what she looks like. And we'll put her right here. You can see that. Not very well. I will use this one since you can still get these. So I really wouldn't kind of put that into the oldest, because I don't think you can get this anymore. And I will put this on with an ABH highlighter brush, the A23. I do have ones that I like better, highlighter brushes, but this is just the one I picked up. So I'll get a little bit on my brush, and this is where I take and put my highlighter. I load both sides of it up. Put a little bit there, put a little bit there, go down the nose, a little bit on my 11 lines on my Cupid's bow. Then just whatever's left on the brush, I just kind of put a little bit above my brows. And I will take a little bit from the Merry Luminizer, and I'll put it in the corner of my eyes. Something that I sometimes don't do. Most of the time I don't, because this part of my eye always separates, never fails. But I will put a teeny tiny bit up there, and I'm going to use this Morphe X Jaclyn Hill brush right here, and it's the I think she had it marketed as an inner corner brush, and it does perfect for that. So I'm going to put a little bit there. We'll spray my brush. I'm going to use All Nighter, just so that will show up, and I'm going to put a little bit. I put it on the side of my nose. Then I'll just kind of go in to a little bit there. Okay. Now, I'm going to spray my face with, again, All Nighter Classic. And before we do mascara, I will do lips. My go-to shade years ago was Max O. And she looks like this. And I will swatch it right there. It is a burgundy plummish shade. And I wore that all the time. And then this is even the old packaging. This is the e.l.f. matte liquid lipstick in the shade Blushing Rose. I searched high and low for a new one of these, and I have a new one, but this is the old packaging. I'll swatch it. Still looks the same. It smelled the same. But keep it for nostalgia purposes. That's what that one looks like. It's a little more brown nude. It's more actually along the lines of what my actual lips look like. So, for nostalgia's sake, I'm going to wear O today. I didn't have lip liners. I didn't wear lip liners. So I don't really know which the first one that I bought was. More than likely it was a ColourPop one. I do love their formula and I do wear those to this day. But, you know, we're going back to some of my, my oldest. And I didn't wear a lip liner, so we're going to go in with O. Again, love, love, love this shade. I have moved on, but I wore this every single day. If I wore no makeup, this is what I wore. Kind of has a metallic look to it. As far as mascara, which is the last thing I do in my routine, that would be the Lancome Mansour Big Waterproof. Started out with waterproof because my eyes tend to water. Regardless of what I do, they always water. And I did not ever want to have the raccoon eyes. So I would always buy waterproof. So let's go in with a little bit of this. That's one coat. That's all I typically need or want. I don't really wear lashes. I don't put them on. So this is my final look using some of my first and oldest makeup products. I'll give you a close-up. This is no filter. No editing. This is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to do more like this. I'd love for you all to see what's next to come. I'm taking a chance on this YouTube journey. So, join me. Thank you. Hit like, subscribe, and please share. Have a great day.